someone makes you uncomfortable, trust your instincts and tell a trusted adult. And remember, if you ever need help, or if you know a friend or classmate who does, you can always call us at the Child Protection and Family Services Agency on our 211 Child Abuse Hotline. We're here for you. Have a fantastic school year. Stay safe and take care of each other.
Get Sagicor School Companion Health Plan for as little as $2,540 per month. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock.
Coming up in CVM News at 7, police shooting in Newlands, Manchester. JDF rescues 2 fishermen off St. Elizabeth Coast. The PNP's Colin Bell quits Portland Eastern candidacy. DCP Fitz retires after 40 years of service. We also have our Sunday premiere of Inspire Jamaica. While in sports, Reggae Boys head coach Steve McLaren disappointed with debut draw. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7, the weekend edition. It's Sunday, September 8, 2024. I'm TK Dawkins. The peaceful quiet of Newlands District in Manchester was shattered as a shootout between the security forces and an individual who had recently taken up residence in the community resulted in his death. Joel Crosskill shares that report.
A Manchester resident is issuing a Mayday distress signal after a week of bloodletting in the parish.
When we look and see what's taking place in my yard to the day, boy, I may tell you, it's grieve. It grieve the heart of me, man. It need more soldier, not the police alone. We need the soldier and the police. When it's not the police, it's the soldier. I'm telling you that. Because we can sleep more comfortably in our bed, we can go about activity, we can go out to work, and the youth them can get more job, them can go about, and they must keep themselves to themselves. Put down badness, it no work. Put down badness. Youth and youth, may I beg you not put it down, it no work.
He says he witnessed the outcomes firsthand as the members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force came to his home in search of an individual who had taken up residence within the community under what he believes was a false pretense, and were met with violent resistance.
Yeah, it was a shootout, you know. It's a shootout. It's a shootout because I am living on the premises where it take place. So it's totally was a shootout because when the police arrive on the scene, they come and knock my door, and when them ask, I come out and speak to them, and them say to me, no, not me is the one. And them say, next door. And them go by there, and by the put a reach at the door, it shot fire in. And them retaliate, and there goes. Him get it. Them never hesitate.
The lifelong Manchester resident shared how the unidentified individual came to live in the house next door.
This guy now, him come by the house by one of my brother who say he is my brother son. My sister them don't know him, me myself don't know this guy. And eventually, him in the yard live with us. Not live with us because I don't know him. Him in the yard and him staying over, hiding out. Over by my mother house, and you know, my brother who came in the yard, we expect say the police they must make a serious note of this, because if him bring someone in the yard who we don't know, him supposed to get the same charge. Right? And my sister them agree with it. So eventually, here I'm now speaking on the public media, and I'm making it clear. I am making it totally clear. We don't happy about the death of him. No. But, you know, we comfortable now if we know so which means we can lie down in the bed and sleep bass.
He says despite not knowing the now deceased, he regretted the shared trauma that had now been unleashed on the usually quiet community as a result of his death.
We don't happy about the death of him. No. But,
And on a bittersweet note, Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz has retired from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, after 40 years of service. The senior police was lauded by friends, family and colleagues who attended a retirement dinner held in his honor on Friday. We have more from Adrian Williams.
Though many law enforcers have given their time and dedication in service of country, few have done so for as long as Deputy Commissioner Fitz, who is now retiring from the field after 40 years. The top cop received a retirement dinner to commemorate a career of hard work throughout various levels of the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
I have never gotten so many petitions for anyone to remain in their position. I've gotten calls from members of civil society, members of the private sector, just average persons. Fitz, however, has made his name because he exemplifies the policies and the principles that we would all want to see in the JCF.
The Prime Minister highlighted another dimension to the senior cop's life.
What I particularly admire about is that you are a policeman and a bishop. I don't know if you pray before you shoot, but I'm certain that there is divine guidance in all that you have done. Your pathway has been lighted by the Almighty.
Superintendent of Police Cleo Ellis commented on the shift Bailey has witnessed over the course of his tenure in the force.
He has also seen and lived through the era when police were called Babylon. Today, we are no longer called Babylon, but we are seen as law enforcers and peacekeepers in the society. And I want to thank you, sir, for your service. We really appreciate you.
Commissioner of Police Dr. Kevin Blake also gave his words of recognition on the work Bailey has done, while also seeking to inspire those who remain on the front lines.
This moment in his career is symbolic to the broader transformation within the JCF itself. A force constantly evolving, adapting to meet new challenges, and ensuring that we stay ahead of criminal elements seeking to destabilize our society. This evening, we are not simply saying goodbye to a colleague, nor are we marking the end of an era. Instead, we are acknowledging that DCP Bailey's departure is a conclusion of a beginning.
Bailey, in his response, encouraged those remaining to ensure they live a life to serve others honestly.
My goal, to create a legacy of compassion, integrity, and strength that will inspire future leaders long after I have departed from this role.
Among the highlights of DCP Bailey's career include his contributions as head of the Fraud Squad, as well as his leadership of the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch, CTOC. Adrian Williams for CVM News.
Continuing in honor of the work done by DCP Fitz, CVM Chairman Delroy Howell, who was in attendance at the retirement dinner, made a very special announcement, which will seek to benefit a selected candidate who chooses to pursue law enforcement.
I met with my board today, and we decided to do a scholarship in your honor of $150,000. And it will be a scholarship for $150,000 for any young Jamaican that want to go into the field of law enforcement, and that will help in your name. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
The Jamaica Defence Forces Maritime, Air and Cyber Command, MAC, successfully rescued 2 fishermen approximately 14 miles southwest of Black River, St. Elizabeth on Friday, following a diligent search and rescue operation. Joel Crosskill shares that report.
After the fishermen failed to return as scheduled, Concerned parties contacted the JDF on Wednesday, September 4, prompting an immediate launch of search and rescue mission for the missing seafarers, utilizing both air and maritime assets in search of the men who departed from the New Causeway fishing village on August 31. One of the rescued fishermen, Fitz Russell, recounted the difficulties they faced when their vessel, the It Dwayne, ran out of fuel and began drifting off the coast of St. Elizabeth.
Well, Captain, the worst experience I ever experienced all of my life. Experiencing outer sea, breakdown, and drifted.
So where are you coming from?
P-Jockey.
Okay, and you had what kind of issues? What caused you to drift? What kind of breakdown?
Gas. Gas is the problem.
Gas.
We have one 35-gallon tank and that run are empty. I don't know how comes it happen, but when we look, we see some gas a leak from the engine. Where the other day, MP must say $80,000 to get it rectified.
The JDF conducted multiple operations over the course of 2 days, and on Friday, a breakthrough as other seafarers spotted the drifting vessel and promptly alerted the JDF Coast Guard, ultimately leading to the fishermen's rescue. The men and their vessel were safely brought ashore and handed over to the Marine Police for additional assistance. Mr. Russell expressed deep gratitude to the JDF Coast Guard for their timely intervention. He also shared a word of caution for others who braved the deep waters, while describing his reaction to seeing the Coast Guard's vessel as it approached.
I feel joyful. Well, you see thing now, make sure your structure fully up there. Because if your structure not up there, you have a weird on fast out at sea. Make sure.
Joel Crosskill, CVM News.
With the JCF announcing reductions in major crimes, Prime Minister Andrew Holness encouraged the force to ensure they have respect for all while carrying out their jobs in being a force for good.
And I urge the JCF to continue on this path to show the world that we don't need to be told to respect human rights. That is something that is ingrained in us. The respect for human rights. But you know what is missing in the conversation? The respect for the rights of the victims. No one speaks about the rights of the victims, those families who have lost loved ones. No international agency is coming to say, protect the innocent citizen. None. Well, you, the members of the JCF, you are the ones that the people of Jamaica rely on to protect them against those who would seek to organize and import guns to kill innocent people.
Former People's National Party councillor candidate for the Fellowship Division in Portland Eastern, Colin Bell, has withdrawn his candidacy bid for the upcoming general election. He made the announcement via a social media platform on Saturday morning. Bell was defeated in the February local government elections by the JLP's Shanique Green. Bell cited a lack of support as a primary factor behind his withdrawal.
I am not going into politics to lose. Not going in there to lose, Mr. White. And if there are forces against me within my space, you know, sometimes you have to give people what they want. So I have withdraw my candidacy. So I'm no longer the PNP candidate for Eastern Portland. And I'm asking my supporters to support the candidate that the PNP will put in place to represent East Portland.
CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
Me, I go show them my way of justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of we. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
Rise and shine and start your day with the Wealthy Club's Power Hour. It's a transformative mind-body workout infused with strength training, yoga, meditation, and journaling. Every Wednesday from 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Starting September 11th, join us for free, live in person right here at the Marketplace in front of Camila's Kitchen, or you can join in from anywhere in the world thanks to our friends over at Just Create. And afterwards, refuel with your post-workout breakfast from Camila's Kitchen to truly support your wellness and your fitness goals. Catch us for this special workout hour on CVM TV on Mondays from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. and a repeat at 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Wellfit Wednesdays starting September 11th at 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. right here at the Marketplace. See you there.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winford Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back. It's now time for regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. In Trinidad and Tobago, a shocking revelation that young children are allegedly involved in the extortion of businesses. The police service is now warning that they will be using key legislation to ensure parents are held accountable for the actions of their children. The details from CNC3 News.
It's unexplored territory for the TTPS.
So it's never been done before, it's being explored now?
I would say that I have never done it before, and it is something that we have collectively give consideration to.
Minister Keith Scotland explained that the amended Children's Act, the Education Act and the Anti-Gang Act allow them to hold parents to task for having their children out of school and in a life of crime. This was heavily endorsed by Minister Fitzgerald Hines, who said just last evening he received a disturbing call from one of his constituents.
She told me as late as 3 a.m. in the morning, children of primary school years are on the streets in their community. That is a straight question for parents.
But it gets worse. According to information from the head of the extortion unit, primary school-aged children loitering in the streets late at night pales in comparison to this next crime.
Recently, the description of 3 persons who went to extort or demand money from a particular businessman was 1 person between the ages of 17 and 22, and 2 around the age of 8.
In Guyana, the Vice President Dr. Barak Jagdeo has assured citizens that recent revelations that the government intends to amend Guyana's cybercrime laws are not aimed at curbing free speech. Instead, Dr. Jagdeo emphasized the changes are designed to align the country's regulations with international standards. He assured the public that the reforms would not infringe on freedom of expression, but rather target criminal activities conducted through digital platforms.
We believe in free media. We believe in people freely expressing their views on the internet. We're not for censorship on the internet. We will promote that. People's right to freedom to freely express themselves. But the United Nations now has come up with model legislation about crime. Crime that is perpetrated in cyberspace. So the regulations will fit into the United Nations framework of what they have defined would be crime in cyberspace. It's only people who do that, like to extort people using, cyber means or cyberspace.
And in international news, more students have been injured in a fire in central Kenya, this time at a girls' boarding school. The blaze broke out on Saturday night, the second such incident at a school in the past 2 days. Kenya's Red Cross says several dormitories were damaged and at least 3 students were injured. It follows another fire in a dormitory that killed at least 21 students early on Friday. 139 children have been accounted for, but 17 are still missing. We turn to Al Jazeera.
Dozens of children were trapped in the dormitory when a fire broke out. Some are still missing. Susan Mwangi says her son was in the building but managed to escape.
My child is safe, but I feel so bad for those whose children have died or are missing. We need counseling for everyone.
Some of the bodies are burned beyond recognition and will have to be identified using DNA tests.
A lot of people here are asking about the circumstances that led to that fire and if it could have been avoided. But parents that we've spoken to say right now their priority is finding their children dead or alive.
At another school about 140 kilometers northeast of Hillside Endarasha Academy, a second fire, this time at a girls' high school. All the students there are safe. It's not clear what caused this fire either. But such incidents are common in Kenya. Some are arson-related, especially when students are about to sit their exams. Investigators are looking into safety measures at both schools.
And that's it for regional and international news.
For this Inspire Jamaica, Curlin Brown continues a conversation on a teenage boy who is making strides living through challenges with autism. He is among the thousands of Jamaican students who resumed school last week, with many more, except for those institutions severely impacted by Beryl, expected to resume island-wide this week.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Picking up where we left off with their lanes, at the point where after a series of tests, confirmation came their son at 3 years old was on the severe end of the autism spectrum.
We started reading a little when we had the suspicions and stuff. So we weren't too surprised, but to say we were disappointed, yeah. That's not what we really wanted. That's not what we were looking for. But, my husband and I, we always have our little board meetings and we always talk about important things that affect our family. So when we sat in one of our board meetings and we started talking about this, my husband said, he gave me that reassurance. The one who in tears and everything, but my husband said, listen, this is not your problem. This is our problem. I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to be right here with you. Because you see, here's what, Curlin. One of the things that is being told is that nearly 40% of persons with children on the spectrum, they separated after a while. So I had that fear if my marriage was going to be in problem. But he gave me that blessed assurance, My husband is mine.
Having further sealed their vows for each other and their offspring, the couple, now 6 years into marriage, also agreed to remain steadfast to the highest source of unconditional love.
I tell you something, Curlin. One of the things I said to my husband at that table, if it is his will, it's going to be his bill. And if it's his choice, it's going to be his invoice. And let me tell you, up until today, the Lord has honored his bill and pay every invoice because it's not cheap.
The other thing too, our faith plays a huge role in our approach to the whole condition, the whole situation. I can say because of our faith, we have had an approach that has yielded results, right?
Relocating from their home in Montego Bay to where they could access treatment and therapy for Alex is just the beginning of the testimony for these professionals. Challenges to include wading through what seemed like an obsession with water, to discovering it was his love language, to paying attention to the pros and the cons.
And God ordained that we should have been in Kingston so that, we could have landed jobs and be able to finance the challenges.
Challenges to include wading through what seemed like an obsession with water, to discovering it was his love language, to paying attention to the pros and the cons.
We get him into swimming, and one of the main reasons we get him into swimming because he has always been just flooding out our house. Even if we just turn on the pipe and just have water running up and down all over the place, and you'll get up even in the middle of the night and the whole place wet up and stuff. Yes. Right. So we just send him to swimming and say, listen, we don't know if he's going to be able to swim, but just make him go, just go on in the water so that when he come home, they can have like a peace of mind with the pipe.
I want to add though with the swimming is that a high percentage of children on the spectrum die on an annual basis as a result of drowning. Mm-hmm. So having learned of that statistic, we were more adamant that we need to have Alex Xavier in a program that he'll learn to swim. He can manage himself. As a matter of fact, Alex Xavier does better than his mom and his dad in the pool.
It was after spending huge sums on speech and applied behavior analysis ABA therapy, Autism Edge, an online home intervention program was born with 1 star, Alex Xavier Alain. I am Curlin Brown. Let's continue to inspire Jamaica.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Join us for sports after this break.
Me, I go show them my way of justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of we. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
Our days get a little complex sometimes. Often so many things make sense, yet so many do not. We are being intentional about giving prominence to the big stories in order to clarify and enlighten. Lead Story explains who, what, when, where, why, and how. Lead Story with George Davis, weekdays at 6:30 p.m. on CVM TV.
Look who we have in the cut. No, today episode I got nice. Legends, Senator, my longtime brethren, the great, all-star, the king, and the man himself. Salute! You know, as man, we're not too God specialist, and that's the pinnacle of the problem.
We want some new era.
Do what you love and you never work a day in your life. Lie!
You work till a week.
It was pandemonium. Country people can relate to what I talk about.
What you think about me no matter, you know. What matter to me is what I think about myself.
Man United, you know. I don't care what man wants to say.
You know, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, man. You finished?
Yes, we finished.
The Cut is brought to you by Flow.
Rise and shine and start your day with the Wealthy Club's Power Hour. It's a transformative mind-body workout infused with strength training, yoga, meditation, and journaling. Every Wednesday from 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Starting September 11th, join us for free, live in person right here at the Marketplace in front of Camila's Kitchen, or you can join in from anywhere in the world thanks to our friends over at Just Create. And afterwards, refuel with your post-workout breakfast from Camila's Kitchen to truly support your wellness and your fitness goals. Catch us for this special workout hour on CVM TV on Mondays from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. and a repeat at 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. WellFit Wednesdays starting September 11th at 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. right here at the Marketplace. See you there.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winford Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Crunch your craving with the new KFC Crunchy Box for only $850. KFC, it's finger-licking good. The time by KFC is...
Good evening and welcome to Sports. I'm Ronaldo Adams. Steve McLaren was disappointed with his debut result as Reggae Boys head coach after Friday's draw with Cuba. He stressed that the team has plenty of room to grow and is focused on refining their performance.
Jamaica were left frustrated on Friday evening after a 0-0 stalemate against a resilient 10-man Cuba in their Group B League A CONCACAF Nations League clash at the National Stadium. Despite dominating the match with 21 shots, 7 on target, and a whopping 73% possession, the Reggae Boys just couldn't find the back of the net. Head coach Steve McLaren expressed his disappointment with the result.
I reflect on what we wanted to do, how we wanted to play football, how we wanted to dominate the ball, keep possession, and probe. As I said to the players before, don't get frustrated. I saw them play Honduras, and they frustrated Honduras 0-0 for 95 minutes, and I knew they could do that. It's very tough to break down a 5-4 defence, even when they're down to 10 men, and we didn't do it. We move on, next game.
McLaren admitted the team is still a work in progress, with their sights set on reaching the next level.
I knew from the beginning, 3 weeks ago when I took the job, it's a long process, and I'm bringing things to the team which I think will help us go to the next level. I think we demonstrated that today. You know, defensively, we didn't give them anything. We were very strong in terms of that. Counter press was very good from the midfield, and we created chances from that. So that was positive. As I say, we just need to, one of them needs to go in. And as Casey rightly says, we win that game 1-0, we'd be pleased with the performance and we move on. But did I think it was going to work just like that on the first night? No, I didn't. I've been in football a long time, and sometimes it happens straight away, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you see 80% what you want, but don't get the result. Our job, my job, is to stay calm, is to stay composed, and is to keep building and growing and getting belief into this team, because that type of football will take us to the next level. It's just the finish that needs to come.
Reggae Boys midfielder Casey Palmer found a silver lining in the encounter.
I think for me it was the best performance we've had since I played for Jamaica personally. We dominated the ball, but obviously everyone's going to say, well, you didn't win the game, which is fair. But if we win that game, I think everyone says that's the best Jamaica have played in years, especially here at the office, obviously. So I think there's a lot to improve on. There's still a lot more to come, but I think you can see clearly what the new coach is obviously going to play, the style of play we're going to play, and obviously I think it's a lot of positives to build on. And we can't be negative just because we didn't put the ball in the back of the net. There were so many positives from today. So
Jamaica faces Honduras in Tegucigalpa on Tuesday night in their next CONCACAF Nations League match. Kickoff is at 9 p.m. Jamaica time.
And over to cricket. Jamaica Defence Force led the advancing party into the quarterfinals of the JCA Senior Cup 50 overs limited competition with a 5 wickets win over